Hi, everybody. So I am recording lesson 3.1, which is representing proportional relationships, and the California Common Core standard is 8th grade expressions and equations number 6, which says that you need to be able to graph proportional relationships, interpreting the unit rate as the slope of the graph. And then you got to be able to compare two different proportional relationships represented in different ways. And so the essential question is, how can you use tables, graphs, and equations to represent proportional relationships? First, you're going to do this explore activity, which it says representing proportional relationships with tables. So this in math, this is called a, oops, right here, this is called a table, okay? Not the regular table that you see in your house, but this is in math. This is called a table. You could have a horizontal table or a vertical table like this, okay? So you got to be able to see both ways. So it says in 1870, the French writer Jules Verne published 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, one of the most popular science fiction novels ever written. One definition of a league is a unit of measurement equaling 3 miles. So first it says complete the table. So we know that 1 league is 3 miles. So 2 leagues must be 6 because 3 plus 3 is 6. And then 6 leagues, well, I just multiply it by 3, so that's going to be 18. If I go this way, I'm going to multiply it by 3, but if I go backwards, what do you think I'm going to have to do? The inverse of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So if I have 36 leagues, that's going to be 3 divided by 3, that's 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that's going to be 12 leagues equals 36 miles. And then 20,000 leagues, well, I divided by 3. It's going to be a repeating decimal, and I don't want to do it in my head. So what's 20,000? Oh, no, I have to multiply it by 3, not dividing it. I'm going this way. So when I go this way, I multiply it by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, so 60,000. Okay, so what relationship do you see among the numbers in the tables? The distance is 3 times as big, the distance in miles is 3 times as big as the distance in leagues. So I write it in a complete sentence. The distance in miles is 3 times the distance in leagues. Okay, and as you know, mathematicians were so lazy. So what we do is we just say, let's call this x and let's call this y, and we're just going to say y equals 3x because we don't want to write this whole sentence. And we got to be able to understand that, okay? So now, what does it, part C, it says, for each column of the table, find the ratio of the distance in miles to the distance in leagues. Write each ratio in simplest forms. So 3 divided by, so they did 3 over 1. So 3 divided by 1 is 3. The next one was, we put a 6 right there. 6 divided by 3, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then for 6, we put 2, oh, 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 this one. 6, it was, I messed up. 3 times 6 is 18, not 13. See, I make lots of mistakes, and it's okay. I still know math. 18 divided by 6 is 3. And then the next one is 36 divided by 12 is 3. And 60,000 divided by 20,000 is 3. So what do you notice about the ratio? The ratios are equal. The ratio is equal. It's always 3. If you know the distance between 2 points in leagues, how can you find the distance in miles? Right here. If we know the distance in leagues, we said that we multiply it by 3. So, oops, right here, you multiply it by 3. Now, if you know the distance in 2 points in miles, how can you find it in, oops, in leagues? Well, if you have it in miles, you go backwards, so you divide it by 3, okay? You divide it by 3. And this is, inverse operations. Multiplication is the inverse of division. Division is the inverse of multiplying, okay? Next thing, And this you learned also in seventh grade. It says representing, I have a mess in my desk, sorry. Representing proportional relationships with equations. The ratio of the distance in miles to the distance in leagues is constant. Constant means it's always the same. It was always 3. This relationship is said to be proportional. Underline it, proportional. A proportional relationship is a relationship between two quantities in which the ratio of one quantity to the other quantity is always constant. So if you always get 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, that means that the relationship is proportional. Okay. And that a proportional relationship can be described by an equation of the form y equals kx. Remember, I just put y equals 3x? That's the equation that we use if it's proportional. Circle it, y equals kx, where k is a number called the constant of proportionality. K is called the constant of proportionality. Remember, seventh grade. Sometimes it is useful to use another form of the equation. So you can write it like this, or you can write it like this, whichever one is fine, okay? And you got to be able to understand both. So example 1, it says, Megan earns $12 an hour at her part-time job. Show that the relationship between the amount she earned and the amount of hours she worked is a proportional relationship. Then write an equation. Okay, well, what are the two things that we're talking about? $12 per hour. So it's dollars an hour. So this, they put a table and they put the number of hours on the top and they put the amount she earned. Well, if she works 1 hour, she gets $12. If she does 2 hours, she gets 24 hours. If she gets 4 hours, 48, 896. What is the constant? What are we doing each time? So here we're multiplying it by 12, multiplying it by 12. So that's the constant of proportionality. So you can say x is being multiplied by 12 to get y. So the equation would be y equals 12x. Or you can say, like if you want to put it in this form, k, which is 12, is equal to y divided by x. Okay, but we prefer this one. Okay, so that's the equation. Now your turn. It says 15 bicycles are produced each hour at the Speedy Bike Works. Show that the relationship between the number of bikes produced and the number of hours is proportional. So we're going to make a table, hours on the top, and then and then it's number of hours, number of bikes at the bottom. Well, they say that 15 bikes are produced each hour. So if I have 1 hour, that's going to be 15 bikes. If I have 2 hours, that's going to be 30 bikes. If I have 3 hours, that's going to be 45. So I can see that it's being multiplied by 15. So the equation is going to be y equals 15 times x. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions. The next one, representing graphs, representing proportional relationships with graphs. Okay, now remember, you can make a table, you can write an equation, or you can make a graph. You can represent a proportional relationship with a graph. The graph will be a line that passes through the origin, 0, 0, because it's a proportional relationship, so it will always go through the 0, 0. The graph shows the relationship between the distance measured in miles to the distance measured in leagues. See right here, 1 and 3 miles, 2 and 6 miles, 3 leagues and 9 miles. So what's going to be the equation? Well, the y is you can, to get the y, you multiply the x by 3. See, when you have when you have a graph, the x is first and then the y. So the y, the 6, the 2 is being multiplied to get 6. Okay, so this would be the equation for that one. So example number 2, it says, the graph shows the relationship between the weight of the object on the moon and its weight on the earth. Write an equation for this relationship. So I looked at my graph and I say, okay, what's that point? That point is 6 to the right and 1 to the top. So my point is 6, 1. This point right here is 12 to the right and 2 up. 12 and 2 up. This one is 18 and 3. What relationship do you see between the x and the y? Remember, you have x and y. So see, the y is smaller. So the y is being divided by, or the x is being divided in order to get the y. So this one, you say y is equal to divided by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So the x is being divided by 6, not 3. So you can either write it like that, or you can say y is equal to 1 6x. Either one is acceptable, okay? So now the next question, it says the graph shows the relationship between the amount of time that a backpacker hikes and the distance traveled. What does this point represent? So the six represents the time. So I'm sorry, the 5 here represents the time, the hours, and the 6 represents the miles. So 5 6 means 5 hours, and he hiked 6 miles. 6 miles, a distance. So what would be the equation? Well, remember, y is equal to, and then the miles is 6. So the y goes on the top, 6/5 x. Okay? Um, remember that the constant of proportionality is y divided by x. So that's why I put 6 on the numerator and 5 on the denominator, because this is the constant of proportionality, y divided by x. Okay? And thank you very much. Now it's your turn to do the guided practice and everything else.